Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel, or if you're new here, welcome to my channel. My name is Shay. I'm a Halloween special effects makeup artist, and on this channel we do both special effects makeup and DIY Halloween crafts. I just kind of went to Walmart after work and went up and down the aisles. They don't have a lot of Halloween decorations out. I will show you the clips that I did take while I was at the store. But they did have enough to kind of get my brain going a little bit. This is the wreath that I got. Since it's going to be a Halloween wreath, I was like, it kind of makes sense, especially if we're going to make it look a little bit more spooky, a little bit more older, for it to not be perfectly round. Then we have these mini pine cones and pumpkins. For this, I'm only going to be using these smaller pumpkins here, and we're going to repaint them and everything. I got these spiders to put on. These flowers, which we will be repainting, and we will also be repainting the leaves for this as well and chopping them up and everything. And this also came with leaves, but I don't like how see-through they are. But I got this for the skull. This is really the only kind of mini skulls that I could find, and what we'll be using him for is we'll repaint him as well, put him up at the top of the wreath, and he will be the centerpiece to our ribbon we will be creating. So without the props and everything, I got two different kinds of ribbon. I got white and then this purple kind of mesh type ribbon. You guys will be able to see it better when it's out of the package, but I thought that would look really cool. And then to make it a little bit more cutesy, I got purple or pink, whatever you want to call this, and black glitter. We're also going to be needing a hot glue gun and obviously hot glue sticks. But other than that, unless I have to make an edit, I think that's all the materials we'll be needing. So let's go ahead and get started. So the first thing we're going to be doing is taking this white gloss acrylic paint to each of our 3 pumpkins that we will be using, just to hide that orange coloring that they already came with. I'm going to be doing a couple coats. I won't be showing all of the painting process because it'll be a little boring to watch after a while, but I just kind of cake on as much of that white paint as possible. Then I'm going to go ahead and pop off the head of this skull, and we're going to repaint him as well. Since he has a little bit darker colorings in the eyes, nose, and mouth area, those will probably need more layers than the pumpkins, as the pumpkins are a little lighter in color. And here you can just see the difference of one coat versus, I think the one on the right is either 2 or 3 coats that I put on it. So it definitely makes a difference. If I'm remembering correctly, I put about 4 coats on the pumpkins and 5 coats on the skull. Alright, so it's a new day. It is now tomorrow, technically, from when we first started this. We have all of our little pumpkins all painted, that glossy white color that I was looking for, and we have our skull painted all white as well. That's just the other pumpkin. I like him a lot better than how he was on top of this flower. He looked really cool with it, but we're going to use it for the centerpiece to our bow for the wreath. So I went ahead and I bought this black spray paint from Krylon. I got this at Lowe's. Let's go outside. I'm going to throw on a sweatshirt and I'll meet you out there. Okay, so it's super cold out here. I cannot believe how cold it's getting. It's only mid-September and it's insanely cold. But anyway, I have this setup. I just put plastic bags down, and then here is our twig wreath. I hope you guys can see it okay. The sun's kind of going down. Sorry also if you hear my neighbors. They're having a birthday party. So we're just going to take this spray paint and spray it all around. I'm going to try my best to get in between each and every single one of these, and then we'll flip it around, do the back, and then do the outsides of it. Have the black coating on both sides, around the edges, and then also in the inside of it. Then we're gonna go in, oh that's my black, with the gloss, and we are just going to spray this, probably do 2 coats of the gloss I'll do a time lapse of it, and then we're gonna let this dry, and we'll go back inside and start working on some more of our props. Okay, so we just brought our wreath back inside because it is kind of getting darker out now. Next, we are going to get started on putting the details into our pumpkins and our little skull guy. I'm going to just take black paint. This is the only black paint I have left. I thought I had more. This is just a studio paint. It's kind of an older type. I'm going to take some detailing brushes and just go down whatever lines you see in the pumpkins in black. We're just going to leave the stems of them like that goldish color just to make more of a color pop in our wreath. And then we will color in the eyes, nose, and the teeth area in black as well for our little skull guy. So I'm going to go back into a time lapse and I will talk to you guys when we're done. So for the black portions of the pumpkins and the skull, I only did one coat. Take your time with this. It is a bit tedious to get all the lines as straight as possible, but they turn out pretty cool after they are done. Then for the skull, I just went pretty thinly with the black paint. I didn't do too many coats. I didn't want it to get all clumpy or anything. I wanted it to be as smooth as possible. So I used the smallest brush that I had and just go in there. You can do your skull however you want, paint them however you want. You can do like a creepier mouth than I did, some missing teeth as some ideas. Whatever you would like for your skull, if you are doing one, go for it. And then for the cracks, I just went in with a very light pencil. Then I went over it in a very thin coat of black paint and let it dry. Alright guys, so the skull is all finished. I think he turned out pretty cool looking. We have about 4 cracks on him, and I have spray paint left over on my hands. I tried to wash it off and it kind of transferred to the skull. As you can see, he got a little dirty like on the side of him and right there as well. But I think that it kind of adds to it. It roughed him up a little bit, made him look a little bit more dirty, so I kind of like it. I think I'm just gonna keep it. Thought about repainting it, but I think I'm just gonna keep it on. Next, what we're going to do is we're going to take this Elmers Craft Bond. It's a quick dry glue. It says it's fast drying, it dries clear, it's not runny, and it's acid free, so it should be safe for this kind of cheap plastic. For the next step, we're going to be using glitter and just making our pumpkins and skull look a little bit more cutesy. So I just took the tip of the paintbrush and moved it around. Later in this video, you'll see that I learned a much easier way to do this, which will be coming soon. So I wouldn't recommend doing it the way that I'm doing it right now, or using your fingers like you'll see me do. But if you want to, go for it. See, glitter everywhere. And then use a bit of a bigger brush just to sweep away any of the excess glitter you don't want to show. So here's the much easier way I was talking about. I just took 1/8 of a teaspoon, dipped it in the glitter, and poured it onto the area that I wanted the glitter to stick. So if you wanted to use your hands, go for it, but personally for me, this way was much easier and a lot less messy. So I'll take the pumpkins and the skull and set them off to dry. Okay, so we're back outside again. I'm gonna try to hold this up without it rolling everywhere. But we have our pumpkins and our skull. They look amazing. The only difficulty, oh geez, that I had with them was obviously when you use glitter, glitter gets everywhere. So I did have to do quite a bit of cleaning up the pumpkins so no glitter would be on the part, like the white parts that we don't want it on. And also, it kept transferring to the skull. I don't know where this, like, the only parts that really stuck to the skull were like these yellowish bronzy sparkles, and I don't know where that came from. I'm very confused, but I kind of like it. So we're going to go in with our glossy coat again, and this will hopefully just help the glitter to stay in place as well as protect the painting coats that we have, because within the years it'll probably chip off. And not only that, but it's gonna be, you know, on a bunch of branches from the wreath, so I don't want it to scratch the paint off or anything. So we're going to go over them with about 2 coats of this, and then we'll go back inside and start on our other props. Okay, so I painted the bottom of this already, forgetting that I need to set it down, so I'm just going to sit here for a little bit with the pumpkin. Alright, so we got the clear coat on them. They're all nice and shiny now, so now we'll put these aside. Also, I figured out where the glitter was coming from. I was just being real dumb. It's from the stems. So we're done with those. I think they look shiny, really good, and they're sealed, so that's really nice. We don't have to worry about the paint or the glitter falling off of them anymore. So let's go back inside. Oh, it is so cold out. Gonna go back inside and start on more of the props for our wreath. Okay, so now we're gonna do the spiders. Right now they're just all black. I'll probably have 4 spiders on the wreath. I'm going to do just like we did the pumpkins and the skull, just to give them some color and so that they pop out from the rest of the wreath, which is also black. Okay, if you can see, there's already glitter getting all over the plate. I know it might be kind of hard to see on camera, but these actually, you can see the joints, and I'm just doing the very first joint of each leg. And I'm just going in with my finger and lightly tapping the glitter to form fit the leg, otherwise it kind of looks weird just having like little glitter pieces sticking out everywhere. So we're just going to push the edges of the glitter into that diamond shape. So our spiders are now dry. I'm again trying to do this without dropping it, but I will give you guys a closer look at what everything looks like when it's finished. What I also did off of camera, and I'll put the measurements of each on the screen for you guys in case you want to make the same size bow as I'm making, but this is actually going to be like our actual bow section, and this will be our tails of the bow. The next materials that we're going to need if you want to create like a blood splatter texture on your bow before we put the purple net on is paintbrushes. I got a fan brush and then a little bit of a bigger brush because I don't know what size blood splatter is going to look the best. I'm going to have a testing strip of ribbon that I had left over, and I'm going to test each one on that, figure out what kind of textures, what kind of styles, how much I want on the bow before I actually do it on the real one. To do the paint, this material that I'm about to show you does run pretty expensive. On Amazon it's about $99, but I really like the color, and I can trust that it will stay very well on the white ribbon. But what I am using is the Skin Illustrator palette. This is the Cuts, Scrapes, Scabs, Blood, Bruises, Burns, and Illness palette. Looks like this. You can use, you know, fake blood if you want from the stores. If you need it to be darker, you can always add like food coloring into it. You can also just use red paint if that's what you would like. And the color we're going to be using is the Aged Blood. So this one right here. Now these are not water-based paints. This is an alcohol-based palette. So the best kind of alcohol that works for this is 99% isopropyl, which I have right here. I got this on Amazon as well for, I think it was about $12 with shipping. So we're gonna go out to the grass and we'll start testing, you know, how much blood we want, what size of the splatters do we want, and that kind of sort of thing. Yeah. Okay, so we got one test strip down here, isopropyl alcohol, paint brushes, paint, and then these two are our other two test strips to kind of play around with and see which one we like the most. Okay, so between these three, I think this one is going to be the one that will work the best. And also I learned on the third one not to overdo it, otherwise it just kind of loses the effect and the illusion. So in this case, less is definitely more. So now we're just going to flip every one of our strips over and do the back of them as well. Okay, so just really quickly, the last thing we're going to be doing is spray painting these flowers with our matte black spray. However, I will not be putting a clear coat on them. I think I want to keep these as matte as I can. I am going to be keeping the pink little color in there that it has. I will be spraying most of it black, but I want the pink color to come out just so they're a bit more 3D. They pop out of the wreath a little bit more. So it'll look something similar to this. It gives it a little bit more of a wilting feel, as well as just a grimy, dirty feel, because we didn't want flowers that looked fresh on our wreath. So we're going to let these dry, and we're going to spray paint these leaves next. So now we're attaching the purple mesh ribbon to the white ribbon. I'm not too worried about measurements, we can cut it down later. And before we actually glue it on top of the white ribbon, we're going to cut off these little threads right here. And how I'm doing this is I'm just going over top with the glue gun and placing the glue down, making sure to run over it multiple times and placing it down flat so it's not a clumpy mess when we're done with it. Also, the more flat you get it, the better the outcome will be, as the glue won't be as noticeable. Then go ahead and cut off the excess purple mesh ribbon. And then I like to go over it one more time just to make sure I have it completely flat, or at least as flat as I can get it. While recording this, I realized that my thumb looks like it's just bleeding everywhere, but I promise it's just the fake blood splatter we used. So now what we're doing is I'm just going to take a pencil and very lightly draw in the torn look kind of end that we want for our bow. Make sure as you're cutting it, there's no pencil marks left over on the end of it. This is a bit too square, so I'm going to go ahead and fix that. So I'm just going to go ahead and do the same thing we just did with each end piece of our bow. Keep in mind you probably don't want to do these sides because they're going to be tucked up under. So if this is our bow, they're going to be tucked up under because these are the tail pieces. So you're not going to be able to see these ends anyway. Showing you how to make the bow piece to our wreath. So we're just going to fold it over in half and then take the two ends and fold them over as well so that they meet in the middle. And when I scrunch the middle like this is what the bow is going to look like after we have it tied. And then this is going to be what the finished product will look similar to. So again, you just fold it in half and then take the two ends that we cut out and meet them in the middle, making the ends of the ribbon come out further than what the actual bow will be. Then just hot glue these two folded ends together. After that's all nice and dry, I like to reinforce it by putting more hot glue on top of it, flipping it over and doing the same to the bottom section. Find about where your center line is. You can take out a tape measure if you would like to. Mine ran about 17 inches and 1/4. Mark your lines and cut about a 1/2 inch of them. Make sure not to cut it in half. Take the white zip tie and tie the middle of the bow together. Next we'll be taking these pieces and forming a V shape with them. So overlay them and then glue those together and do the same thing to the other side. Then go ahead and flip it over and do the same thing to the back side of the bow. I kept dropping my Cheez-Its, oops. So what this will create is a little bowl section that we can nestle our skull guy into. Then I go ahead and glue the two bow sections together to make it more sturdy. And go ahead and glue any other areas of your bow that you would like to make it form fit with the design that you might have in your head. So next we're going to make the legs of the bow, and to do that, I'm going to go over it a couple times with you guys. But basically we just want to fold it over kind of like how we did the main part of the bow. We want to fold the ends in so that they meet in the middle, and then you have this circular oval piece in the middle, which we will then glue down on top of the end pieces. Then we're going to go ahead and hot glue the two end pieces together, much like we did with the main part of our bow, and do the same thing to the other tail. And then after you do that, you can go ahead and glue down the middle portion that we made. Don't forget to glue down both sides of the middle portion. And that is how you get the legs of this bow style in particular. Go ahead and flip your bow over and figure out exactly where you want the tails to go. If you want them pointed straight down or pointed more to the left and the right, kind of angled more. Totally dependent on what you want the style of your bow to be. When you're finished, it should look a little something like this, and then we can go ahead and glue down the skull. Alright, so this is the bow that we created just now. Sorry also if you guys hear the washer, my mom's doing laundry right now. So hopefully I can fix that in editing. I don't know how bad the sound quality is going to be, so apologies in advance. So this is the bow we just made, and as you can see the skull is on there pretty tight. We'll put this on the wreath in just a second. For now, we are going to take the leaves that we have and the leaves that we spray painted, and we're going to cut them off. I am going to leave a little bit of stem on each leaf, and I think we are going to end up using these black ones as well, just for like some color difference in there. So let's go ahead and cut the leaves, and then we can actually start placing things onto our wreath. Oh, one thing also that I thought would be really, really cute is to put, I kind of wish I had 2 of these flowers. I might go get some more from the store, maybe tomorrow or so, because I thought it might be kind of cute to add little flowers to our centerpiece. It looks a little bare to me, so I would like to add a little bit more. I will be hot gluing this, and then once I find another one from the store, I will glue it to the other side. And also, it'll help to hide some of that hot glue that we just put down to glue on our skull. Okay, so now we can start putting the ornaments onto our wreath, starting with the bow. Just because it's the biggest ornament in our wreath, that way we will be able to decide more easily where the rest of the ornament should go. With these bigger flowers that we spray painted outside, I'm putting 1 black leaf on each of them, and then hot gluing around the base of the stem. Pretty good glob should do it, and then just press it down for a few seconds to make it stick. Then I'm just going around and placing the leaves in the bare spots in between the ornaments. The spiders proved to be a little bit more difficult, but if you hot glue the points of contacts on the legs and then a big glob on the body, that helped me a lot. And then for the pumpkins, I'm just hot gluing the bottoms and holding them down until they are dry. This doesn't have to be symmetrical, as you will see later. I thought I wanted it symmetrical, but then I went in with a couple extra props and busied it up a little bit, especially with the bare areas that you'll see here soon. Finally, in order to get the bow to stick up, instead of just laying flat and drooping down over the wreath, I glued part of the bow to the ends of the flowers. Anywhere that you think would help the bow placement and make it look a little less droopy. So this is our finished DIY Halloween wreath. The only things I added that I didn't put on camera because I already explained to you guys how to do them, and you guys probably wouldn't just want a repeat of the same thing you just watched. But I did find another tulip, so I did put that over on his right side. And I also added 2 more flowers, so I added 1 there and 1 here. I spray painted them and everything. And then I also added a couple more leaves. I don't exactly remember. I added 1 there. 1 there, I think a couple here. Yeah, I added a couple where I was going to put the flowers and everything. And then I also added these little mini tulips in the parts that still look just a little bare to me. I have them there and there. And I found these things on the stem of where I got my second stem of flowers. So these are the same type of flower. I had to hot glue this a little bit to make it close, to make it form fit that a little bit more. But these actually were interesting, and they came on the stem, which they didn't come on the other stem. So I'm really glad I had this idea, otherwise we wouldn't have this feature. And the only thing I did to these were obviously hot glue them to the ribbon, as well as spray paint a little bit of them black with our spray paint that we used all over this wreath. So I thought that was another really cool feature. It looked like it's been outside, maybe twigs fell on it or something. But this is our finished product. So this is our DIY wreath we just made. If you guys have any questions about how I did anything, if you guys are confused about how I explained everything, because that's not usually the thing that I'm best at, so I will not be offended if you type in the comments like, hey, what the heck did you just say? Can you please re-explain it? Because I would love to help you guys out with any questions that you guys have. This was really, really fun to make. I enjoyed it. I love how it turned out, and it'll be right here on my front door. So thank you guys so much for watching. I really do appreciate it. Give it a thumbs up if you liked it. Comment anything that you would like, if you liked it, if you didn't like it, what you liked about it, what you didn't like about it. Any comments, questions, concerns, I would love to hear all of them. Any feedback that you guys might have for me, and feel free to send me the pictures of your DIY wreaths. What the heck? Oh, those are headlights. It looks like there's little eyes staring at me. And feel free to send me pictures of your DIY wreaths on Instagram. I will tag it right here. On that Instagram, it has all of my monster makeups, body paintings, beauty paints, hairstyles, gore makeups, pretty much everything that I've ever done Halloween related on there. So if you guys want to check that out, be sure to do so. I really enjoyed making this video for you guys, and I hope you guys enjoyed watching it. I think it turned out great. Again, I'm really, really happy of it and really, really proud. I still don't have an outro, so I'll have to work on that. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you next time.